I want to create passive wealth. Like I've realized that's something that's what being wealthy really kind of is not having to work for every dollar that comes in. And so I would say that's like my end of 30s, early 40s goal. You know, whether it be like real estate property, rental properties, things like that. I don't feel like I have to keep buying houses for myself now. So I can actually invest that money into other things like that, investments. And then I always hesitate to share this, and I wasn't necessarily going to share it.
Too late.
I don't want somebody to steal it.
Gotta go.
But like...
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. And we got the wonderful Caroline Stroyeck here.
The crowd goes wild.
Sound effects. So welcome, by the way.
you.
And
Thanks for
before this
having me.
all started,
I don't
you
know
guys,
why I haven't been here yet. I'm just kidding.
well, before this all started, you guys were shooting the shit. So
Right.
Jokes going back and forth, which is
Yeah.
great. We need
Trying
that
to
energy
relax.
because usually it's all somber and like, let's tell us about your life. But seriously, where are you from? Like, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, how long do we have, by the way? So that
17
I
seconds.
gauge,
Yeah.
no, just so that I gauge my answers appropriately.
Girl, just talk.
Yeah, just
talk.
go.
Like, let's
Okay,
go,
so-
and then we'll go
It's like,
from there.
okay, so like,
Back in 1888,
Got
my
you.
family came from Germany.
take us back to the 1900s.
Right? So, okay, so 1989, like the Taylor Swift album.
Got it.
That's when I was born. My parents were from the Midwest. My dad was a military officer.
Okay.
I'm number 4 of 5 kids. I was born in Virginia Beach.
Oh, shit.
Fun facts about me. I was homeschooled my entire life. I didn't go to school until college, and I've never been on a school bus, even to this day. I also am one of 5 kids, and we lived in the same house my entire life. Like, I brought Easton home as a baby to that house when I was 23.
That's cool, though.
And so my second living place was when I was 23.
Now,
And I moved to the hood.
you moved to the, hold on,
Gang.
hold on a second.
I was
The
right
hood
by
of
Lake
Virginia
Edward.
Beach?
I was right by Lake Edward, and I had no idea. And my dad moved me in there. He's like, "Here's your stuff," you know. And
See you later.
It was the New Point condos.
I mean, you're
And
right there. I'm in the hood. Condo. I pay a HOA and a condo fee. It's not the hood, just to be clear.
It was the cheapest 2-bedroom I could find in Virginia Beach, though, which is how I ended up there.
What year
You
was
know.
this?
2013.
Okay.
So I was like, I graduated college, got a really fancy special nonprofit job, and then within like less than 6 months, I got pregnant.
Okay.
So then I became like a single mom right after college. And so then I totally shifted gears with that. I had to change my job because I worked at a religious workplace and they were not going to let me stay because I had a baby out of wedlock. So that's a thing.
Right. Okay.
Which just really honed into how I was raised. So, but yeah, so then I had to like put my big girl pants on, be a single mom, and then move out of the home I was renting from my dad, basically, which was my childhood home. And so trying to find somewhere I could afford, I ended up in it was the ghetto at the time. Okay, there were cops that sat across the street like every evening, starting at 7 or 8, basically dark, and I ended up moving. I broke my lease and moved after like 10 months because I had 2 shootings outside of my house in 1 month. And in one of them, I watched the police from my bedroom window. I watched them shoot the guy dead.
Well, damn. All right. This
So
Yeah,
I
you
had
needed
street
to-
cred. I might be a little
Okay,
white girl, but I
street
did
cred.
have 9 months in the hood.
Okay, so let's get on to the better part of your life.
But yeah, so, you know, I am so grateful for that experience because I was really sheltered.
Right.
That is true.
And then I learned a lot in a really fast amount of time, and it was overwhelming and hard, but I am a survivor. I like a challenge, and I just was like, I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to be better for it. And then having my son as motivation was everything.
So you have this job that, it's religious. You have a kid out of wedlock, right? So you can't stay there anymore. What's the next profession after that?
So I completely switched gears, and I was a receptionist at a tax firm. But
Gotcha.
I learned a lot about taxes, which was helpful, but then I ended up learning a lot about investments because they had an investment side. which set me up to work for, I'm not going to name drop, but this big real estate investment company in Norfolk. And I was handling their investors who were basically using private money to purchase high rises and multifamily. So I got a really awesome immersion into real estate on a commercial level and a really high level, it's big money.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was super fun. And I loved all of the different clients I got to meet. I really liked the compliance part and the contracts. And so that job was actually how I ended up in real estate because I got laid off for a few reasons. And I got severance from it. And so I used my severance from that to get my real estate license. And then, I did that within about a month. I got my license in 4 weeks online. I passed my exam the second time. First time I only missed by one question.
It's all good.
And then
We're here.
I got mine the first time.
I had gotten recruited by Earl Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
So he was like, if you do all this, you'll make 6 figures your first year. And I was like, you're insane.
Because it's all
I'm
this.
never going to make 6 figures. I was fighting for I guess $45,000 for my yearly.
Your budget for...
That position that I got laid off from, I was actually kind of fighting for more money.
Where were you at? What year was this?
This was 2016.
Okay.
So $45,000 with a college degree.
Right.
They thought that was ridiculous. And nowadays I'm like, oh, you make $20 an hour at McDonald's? That's what I was making when they told me I was making too much money to handle millions of dollars. You know what I mean? It's just interesting perspective. But so I was like, holy crap, you're talking about double what I have been making in like a year. You're like, you're crazy, But I was like, but I can do everything you're listing, cold calls and whatever, and door knock. I'm not desperate, but I'm not shameful either. I'll do anything to win, to make money, to survive. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I went and got my license, and then he had Zillow leads. So I got a client my first week. I had a contract my first week. I had a closing my first 30 days. I did $3 million my first 6 months.
Light bulb moments.
I literally did. I mean, when you take in taxes and
Yeah.
But I literally did make $90,000 my first year.
Nice.
And I was only with him for 6 months, and then I changed companies, and it was a completely different setup. But he was right, and Earl and I are good friends. I still see him, and I'm like, thank you for believing in me. And he apparently uses me as a success story. Excuse me.
As he should.
And he's like, you're the one person where the minute I spoke to you, I was like, this girl's gonna do it. Some people you see a possibility, but for me, he just said he knew.
So wait, this was 8 years ago, right? So
I went into my 8th year. So
your 8th year, and what would you say within that time frame was your most successful year? Oh, you ain't got to do number drops, just the year.
Well, it's so easy. It's 2020 and 21.
Okay.
Which were just amazing years. So I have to COVID was scary.
Yeah.
And I just started a team with business partners in January that year.
No,
you started your brokerage. That's when Iron Valley started.
Well, no, that was Mike and Eric. I showed up actually right before you did. I showed up in 2021.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned COVID and you said it was some scary years, because remember in the beginning, nobody knew what this was.
Right. Financially, you had no idea
you're
what was
like a hero
happen.
going to the store, right? Just to go shop for some basic essentials. Am I going to get it? Am I going to make it out of here? Am I bringing it back to the family?
Oh, I know. Well, you just didn't know what was going to happen. And you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to prevent me from making money? I'm not on a salary. What am I going to do? And we had just started this team. We had started the team. It was me and 2 business partners. And our spend was $10,000 or $15,000 a month in Zillow.
Okay.
So you can imagine, if we can't help these clients and sell these houses, I'm like, oh my gosh, all the money's going out the window. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I died for about 2 weeks stuck in the house. And then they said that we were essential personnel. And I was like, yes, get me out of here. So anyway, 2020, I did over $13 million, which was my best year to date. And then that was also the year that Kevin and I really finally got serious with each other and blended families and stuff. And
wait,
then
who's Kevin?
The Kevin Taylor, the mayor of Virginia Beach.
Uh-oh. Hey. Vice mayor behind me.
I might make him lose that title because he's home so much now. Vice mayor.
We're going to have to argue.
Yeah,
on
you
that
guys
one.
can compete on that.
Love him. Shout out Kevin, by the way. Love you, bro.
Also, I hate you. Also, Iron Valley royalty.
Yes.
But so we got engaged at the beginning of 21, and then that year that's when I started my own team no business partners, and I did over 13 million that year too. So that was like I made it, and I proved myself, and I did it twice in a row, and then
Nice.
And then I got pregnant at the end of that year.
Nice.
So then I did almost 10 million the year I had Rainer, but that was the year that like rates changed.
22?
22.
Yeah.
So I had him in May, and then June everything changed.
Right.
So like you come back from like the short maternity leave that I gave myself of
Right.
like 4 weeks, and then the market was shit.
Because when I first met you, I mean, you showed up here, you guys had the office, and it's
Yeah.
like you got the baby just there, you know, watching, making calls,
I was
doing some business.
slamming it. And it's funny because, like, I mean, I guess if we want to talk about everything, what I had written in my notes had a lot to do with, like, motherhood and parenting. And, like, I will go out there and say that I had, like, postpartum
Postpartum depression.
I had postpartum depression, basically. And I
Okay.
didn't realize that how much it was affecting me because it wasn't like I sat around and cried every day. And I've since learned there's a term called, like, postpartum OCD, which is definitely more what I had, where you almost become like a control freak. Sorry, Kevin. I'll admit it.
Okay.
And like you're paranoid about everything going right and everything going wrong at the same time, and like the intrusive thoughts, like what if I drop my baby down the steps? Like,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
yeah, and
Just
like
to that extreme. Got
imagine
it.
walking
Overthinking
around every day
everything.
thinking like I mean
Yeah.
I still kind of think like that sometimes,
I
but
mean-
anyway, that's just my brain. But then like after the baby, it was on a whole other level. So poor Kevin, like. We had a lot that we were navigating, and that was hard on my business. But what I would love to say about real estate is that it's so flexible that no matter how much you can work or want to work or how much you need flexibility and to slow down, you can do that in real estate. And so while I had years where I did 13 million, I don't put that expectation on myself every year because I know how much time that took. It was so much work. And now we have 4 kids combined. And my oldest is about to start middle school.
Oh, wow.
And I could just weep about it. And it goes so fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, I only have 7 years with him.
Yeah.
Like close. And even that, once they hit high school and they're driving, then
So
Yeah, and I'm sure
technically-
that at that age, they're just locking the door.
it's like 4
technically,
years.
You have 5 kids. Let's just be real. Okay.
Yes, Kevin is. You're
Okay.
going to dog Kevin this whole
No, because I
session.
say to my wife, we have 5 kids, but she really has 6 because me too. That's just
well,
what it is.
yes.
My
So,
wife doesn't baby me.
Bull. She does everything for you. Don't even.
She just did a
Including fighting your
walkthrough
battles.
and home inspection. Thank you.
To be clear, y'all are superstar. That's where I was
Yeah.
going.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. No, and listen, like Kevin and I are both very, like we're intense people, and we're not for everybody, and it requires patience to be with each other. And I'm so grateful that he has the patience he does for me. And we always joke. My dad was like, Caroline, I've never seen you be like this with anybody else, but with him, you seem to have all this patience. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I didn't manifest that. It's just its own thing. But you're right. And the funny thing with the kids is like those kids leave, but the number one child never leaves.
Never does. He's your
And
best
sometimes
friend.
they're the most work, but they are your everything. And so we're getting married in 2 weeks.
Wait. What? Say that again?
We're getting married in 2 weeks. Finally, I know pigs are flying. People weren't sure if it would happen. And we're super excited about it. It's been really good to we already make that commitment, right? Like even though we
Yeah.
haven't officially done it, but we have like the license and everything. Like we're ready. We got the
Okay.
rings.
It's official.
All right,
It's happening,
all right.
but-
he proposed, or you guys just talked about it and it's kind of like, let's just do this?
So like we proposed back in 21.
Oh, gosh. God
all
dang
this
it,
other-
bro. Hurry
each their own.
up.
Takes
And if
time.
I had a ring for every time he has asked me to marry him, I would have 10 rings at least.
Bling bling.
I mean, he's always like, will you marry?
He just found it in the Cracker Jack box every time. He's like, I know who to give this to.
It doesn't always have to be diamonds. I'll take it though.
Right.
I like my rings.
Well,
He
I
gave me
can
both
tell.
of these
Those look
rings.
fresh.
Yeah.
Good job, Ken.
Okay.
My David Yurman pre-engagement.
Listen, I proposed to my wife. Not really proposed, but it was just through the email. Like I was coming back from a deployment. I think I was just depressed. I was just like, hey, you don't just want to get married? Just kidding.
But then you came home and had to do it.
But we did it.
Well, so it's
Been
funny.
great.
When he actually proposed to me, I knew he was picking up the ring because, okay, we don't keep secrets. We're the people that, if we buy a present for Christmas or whatever, we end up giving it to the person right away
Yeah.
because we just can't wait. And we're really not good at secrets and we get all excited. So I knew he had the ring, and I was literally blow drying my hair. I had just gotten over COVID.
Okay.
I was 2 or 3 weeks out of COVID. So I was a little sickly, but skinny. So that was good for the pictures, But anyway, so I'm like trying to blow dry my hair as fast as I can before he gets there because I knew he was heading straight to the house. And I call my friend and I'm like, you got to get over here now so that somebody can take pictures.
Yeah.
And he literally got down on one knee, like in front of my bathroom door, like in my master bedroom or whatever. And like, that's how he proposed. But it was like awesome. Like I didn't want like a whole dramatic, thing.
Well,
that's not
you don't
really
want dramatic, but where are you guys getting married? Where's
the wedding will be dramatic. You got to have that one time, but
right.
You will.
no. So I've never been married. He was married once before, but they did courthouse.
Gotcha.
So this is like our first marriage wedding. We're doing it at Church Point Manor,
Good venue.
which is this
I like
cool like old farmhouse, and we've got all the kids. I'm really trying to be like casual is not the right word, but like comfortable and relaxed about it. I just want everybody to feel comfortable and have fun and feel pretty and summery and outdoors. And so like my bridesmaids aren't really going to stand up there with us, and same with the groomsmen. The groomsmen are mostly our 4 boys.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
And they're going to stand up with us, which I can't wait. They were joking about throwing the rings down the aisle on a football. And I'm like, as long as the rings don't go flying. But yeah, like trying to figure out how to incorporate them. Like those are the things we're excited about. But like I'm not doing like matchy clothes or anything. I'm like, find something that's purple that you like. And,
Nice.
So like I told one girl, I'm like, you can wear flip-flops. I don't care. Like you're the most chill bride. But I'm like, it's not about that stuff. It's about having a great time, the music.
It's a little important. Yeah.
All of his family's coming from Michigan, so
Nice.
like I haven't met his sister before, and apparently, so
You said you haven't?
I have not met his sister
okay.
before, so this is the first time I'm meeting her.
At the wedding.
Yeah, she doesn't travel a lot. They live in Long Island, but so funny thing is, she was like a professional dancer for a long time. And apparently, Whoop, There It Is like her song. So I have it on the playlist, and I am so expecting her to get out there and dance. If she doesn't, I'm going to be disappointed. But I'll be out
This
there.
is dedicated to, and then see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I have some of that for almost everybody, really.
Nice.
And like our kids are requesting songs, my sisters. There's a list of songs that my dad will cry to. And they're like
Perfect.
random. Like some of them are like up like Heart. These dreams go on when that
Wait,
one.
what is your guys' song that you guys are going to dance
The
to?
good news is that this is going to drop after the
I
wedding,
know.
people. So
I mean, we didn't get the invite, but we'll make sure it's after.
Exactly.
Once we find out they
Exactly.
got married.
Case in point.
Yeah, any teasers need to not have some. But it's kind of fun to talk about it because we really haven't like told many
No,
people.
right.
So our song is there could have been so many.
Right. It's
Like
not
Break
juvenile.
Up
You
With Your
don't remember.
Girlfriend by
You don't
Ariana
remember.
Grande. That was a good one.
Kevin called me when he said to DJ your wedding, and it was going to be Juvenile Back That Ass Up. And I was like, dude, it has to be a slow dance, bro. What are you talking
Or
about?
Low by Flow Rider, because my sisters and I will to the windows, to the walls.
Right. Sweat drop down your feet. Exactly. But
Or that's actually the Boots of the Fur, but both of those.
Anything
low.
Exactly.
Anything big
Anything
butt.
that you have to use your knees on. That's the main thing.
Gotcha.
But slow
Bubble
dance.
butt. Bubble butt. Yeah.
See, we can keep going all day.
But no, I actually chose Shania Twain, Still the
Okay.
One.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not like a country person, so that's kind of almost like an ode to him too. But I've always loved that song.
That's a good song.
And I remember after having Rainer, I remember being pregnant with Rainer and like listening to that song and singing along and just kind of like being in that place of like, so glad we made it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we've been through so much. And now I really believe like we will make it through anything.
And then so what you do, right? There's still the one I love,
I'll get
right?
weepy if I talk about it.
And then right in the middle you stop, and then you drop Panic at the Disco. Hey, look, I made it. And then boom, then you just start the party right there.
That's
That was
a
off the top of my
great
head by
idea.
then.
Thank you.
You've only done I don't know
Thank
how many
you.
weddings.
I've never done a wedding in my life.
So
but
listen,
it's-
Kevin and Easton love Panic at the Disco.
Boom.
They love that song. So
So for
All right.
him to not bring that up just goes to show that you are the good.
I wish you had been.
It's just literally just thoughts.
I love
in
you,
my-
Greg, but I wish you had been able to
Well,
do it.
I appreciate Kevin reaching
Damn,
out.
shout
it.
out to Greg.
I was right. I was booked, but
I love you,
I'm
Greg.
happy that you guys are getting I'm like so stoked. So you asked the question, first dance. What's the father-daughter dance to make him cry? That's important.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna get weepy.
Were the napkins in here?
So
None.
I'm determined not
Show
to
everything.
because I didn't
You
do
got
my
this.
waterproof makeup. So
I got you. You're good.
So my dad and I are a lot alike, and my dad is like my best friend in a way, and he really helped me raise Easton for a
Right.
long. Like I love my dad, and my dad and Kevin are a lot alike, which is so. They're both Kevins too.
Oh,
Shut
so
up.
from one
Really?
Kevin to another, yes,
You did on
yes.
purpose.
So I love it. But my dad is a huge Beach Boys fan.
Nice.
And like my whole life, that was our jam. And I've seen the Beach Boys in concert a bunch of times. Like I'm obsessed. So it's Don't Worry Baby.
Oh, that's good.
Well, it's been building up inside of me.
Yep.
And he, but no, my mom and dad were married for about 40 years. When my mom passed away, she passed away when I was 21. So that was part of the whole college experience. And I became a single mom, lots of shit going on. So there's a handful of songs that remind him of my mom, like More Than a Woman by the Bee Gees and The Flame by Cheap Trick.
Yep.
That one I've actually like recorded myself singing for him
That's
and
pretty
sent
cool.
to him like for Christmas.
Nice.
And you know, because my dad, so I have 3 sisters.
Yep.
And we were like super religious and homeschooled and all that crap. And my mom taught us all to sing. And so he is always trying to get us to sing together. So even though it feels cringy sometimes, like I do it for him just because I know it makes him happy.
That's all it's about. at the
Even
end
if
of
I
the
don't
day.
sound like amazing. So
What's the mother-daughter or the mother-son dance?
we don't know. It's literally blank.
You want one?
What?
All right. Do you
Country.
Oh, it has to be
It's
country?
Or something like that.
Disregard. The one that it's like my mic drop and it works for, I'm going to say
My mic
80%.
drop.
It's because if nobody knows what they want to do, right? This is all about, I really like to see the groom and the mom cry.
And they're very close.
But it's, if you can't figure something out, that's country. Boys to Men Mama works every time.
That's Kevin. Kevin loves Boys to Men. I would blow his mind if I did that. He wouldn't expect it.
I'm telling you, because
He loves all that R&B.
He's going to start crying. It's a perfect slow dance. It works a lot of the times.
And I think the slow dance is good too because his mom is like not the most mobile.
Right.
So I worry about like the type of song that it is if she feels obligated to dance. And I don't know if she'll dance a long time, but if it has like that effect pretty early on in the song, that's a good choice.
And that'll be in this scenario, since Kevin's probably more the R&B slower song. Like in this one, he'd like that one more than probably the mom. You'll make Kevin cry instead of her.
No, so I have so much Latin music. That's my favorite dancing. And it's
Okay.
so funny because my whole family's like really white,
Okay, I mean obviously,
you know,
but yeah.
Irish and German and.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law's
Just-
from El
just
Salvador,
let
so
you
I
know,
get
there
a
is
little
no
bit
lighting
there.
here.
Yeah, a little
It's just
Salve.
Caroline.
Do you see the blue? I didn't get
you
a spray tan
you see the
beforehand. I should
glistening.
have.
You see Julia's head glistening? That's just Caroline.
Can Virginia
lighting.
Rican over here.
Oh my gosh! In so many pictures, when they flash, like I end up just being like white ghost. Like even if you're tan, it doesn't matter when it flashes.
funny.
I'm white ghost. But yeah, no, we have all the Latin. I love Latin dancing is my favorite. I should have been Latin, honestly. I feel like
Latina.
even when I was little, I was all into. I wanted to learn Spanish, and I just
Just
Yeah.
make
All
the
Kevin get a really
history.
good tan, and then you're good.
yeah. I'm gonna spray tan for the wedding, you know, so I don't look like myself on my
No,
wedding
Kevin,
day.
make him turn like. No, I'm just kidding.
He is doing like self tanner. I don't know if you've seen him lately.
No, I haven't seen him lately.
And he looks good and he looks healthy. But
He's
he
lost
has
a lot of weight, by the way. He looks really good.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I know. He so I guess we both lost like over 50 pounds
both,
after
yeah.
the baby because
Yeah.
like I gained a shit ton. But he lost I think 80 pounds at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he had like he's like the thinnest pretty much. I mean, he's put on a little more since he had like the massive drop, but he's basically like he was the thinnest he'd been since the military, like when he joined.
Right.
So like 20 years almost.
So now, okay, babies are done. Marriage is about to happen.
He didn't say that.
Okay, so we literally
What's
like
next?
had the I know. We had like the vasectomy planned and everything.
Right.
And like post wedding. And then lately we've had like horrible baby fever and I don't know why. But like we're both like, look at the baby.
Let's
You
get
know?
another
In
one.
the words of OT
But
Genesis,
I do
cut
not
it.
want to be pregnant again.
I feel you.
Listen, if I had a really good real estate year and I could afford to like have a surrogate and like we could pick out the girl because we have 4 boys.
You know, you could just babysit kids. Like, you don't have to make another one.
We're
That's
narcissistic enough
true.
that we need one that looks like us.
I mean,
and your
that's
kids,
funny.
they are like
They
a good
do,
mesh
yeah.
of you
They
guys.
literally are.
Imagine a little girl, especially if she was brunette with all 4 blonde boys.
I mean, to be fair, you're right. You don't have your little girl yet.
And he
That's what
really
it
wants
is.
a little girl.
Okay.
Doesn't
And
have a
I
little
was
girl.
like, I mean, I was so tight with my mom. I'm a girly girl at heart. Like I was a tomboy, but I'm
Yeah.
the hair, the makeup, the all, you know.
Right.
I'd love it. So I don't know. We'll see on that. We've also talked about adopting.
Right.
We're not that narcissistic that we wouldn't adopt.
Okay.
So we may do that. But
Yeah.
A Latin baby. There you go.
There you go. Just
if
adopt
people
a
didn't
lab
find that
baby.
offensive, I
Boom.
would do that. I would totally
Why
do
would
that.
Why would you find that offensive? That's not offensive.
Like the white people like appropriation. Okay, so
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
guess.
get back to the what's next, but I've gotten Kevin into Modern Family lately, and you know
Okay.
you have like the redhead gay
Yep.
dad and the white gay dad, and he's from Missouri or whatever, and they're trying to get into a school, and they've got the Asian baby,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I forgot how un-PC this show was,
Yeah.
and they had the lesbians come in, and one of the lesbians is Indian and disabled, and they adopted a black baby. They're like, this couple beats us.
Yep.
That is
So
funny. One up.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's so
Well, I mean,
funny.
all I'm saying is you don't have to wait 9 months. I mean, you guys could just adopt a kid. Just go watch some other new kids, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Baby fever might be gone.
I mean, I don't want to have
Yeah,
any
right.
like, kids that have kids in high school, but I also like in 10 to 15 years could be a grandma. That's crazy to think about.
So I'm 43 now, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I found out my oldest daughter's having a baby. She's 24.
Congratulations.
So
Hey.
baby showers in September,
Oh, yeah.
right? So it's like I'm just not finding out, and it's like she invited me to go to the baby shower, and of course we're gonna go because I'm like, it's a fucking baby shower, and my wife's like, it's your first grandbaby baby shower.
Yes. You're going to die. Listen,
Damn
my
it,
dad,
all right.
my dad, I love my dad, but my dad is such a better grandfather
Mm-hmm.
than father. Like, it's just amazing how in that stage of your life, how different it is to be a grandparent and like what your relationship ends up being with that child.
Yeah.
And like, it's almost like it's a very different connection, but it's almost more of like a they need me connection.
Yeah.
I
Right?
think,
Like, you feel more of a responsibility.
Yeah, I think with age, also you know, those years when we have children, we're still working, grinding. There's not that same attention. The kids are not going to
It's a
get the same
bummer,
attention.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So now that I'm older, I'm a little more established and all of that. Like, yes, I could spend time with my grandkids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, my kids now are getting the benefits of stuff, the work we've already put in.
The legacy.
Yeah, but back to you, I guess. What's next? Like, okay, even if you have a kid, that's gonna take work in a few months.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
what happens?
I think I'm good on like new babies.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I've kind of been marinating on is, Rainer's 2, which is like so great, right? Like he's fun
Mm-hmm.
and getting more independent. And I only have like 3 years until he's in school, and then it's like, well, what am I going to do with all that free
Right.
time? Which it sounds exciting. So I feel like where I'm at right now, I'm so grateful with real estate that I can slow it down. And I try not to like be hard on myself about not selling like I have, because those years never come back. And like
No,
you
they
said, like I can still hustle, but not so much that I'm like I get to have lunch with Easton all the time at school. It's his last year where I can do that. And like I get Rainer a little early in the day so I can still play with him before he goes
Yeah.
to bed. So that's really, I'm like loving doing that. And all my clients are so amazing about it. And my clients have always really liked the whole you can work and be a mom at the same time.
Yeah.
But once they're older and kind of doing a little more independent, I want to create passive wealth. Like I've realized that's something that's what being wealthy really kind of is not having to work for every dollar that comes in. And so I would say that's like my end of 30s, early 40s goal. So, whether it be like real estate property, rental properties, things like that. I don't feel like I have to keep buying houses for myself now. So I can
Yeah.
actually invest that money into other things like that, investments. And then I always hesitate to share this, and I wasn't necessarily going to share it.
Too
'Cause
late,
I
you
don't
already
want
said
somebody
it.
to steal it.
Gotta go.
But like one of my deep like callings, I feel like I'm trying to think how this was. I have always wanted to have a funeral home.
Okay.
Like I want to create my own funeral home and run it.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because when I drive around this area, all I see is the Holloman. Like you don't see that many.
There aren't many, which is why I don't want to mention it, because it's like if it becomes a thing, then somebody will get to it before I do. But I honestly feel like I would like that, and I've spoken to people about it, and they always joke me. They're like, I honestly think you have like a good disposition for that. I'm not really like uncomfortable with death or any of that sort of stuff, and I can be a little morbid in a very cynical way. But I guess what I feel like is being a millennial, having older parents, and my mom was sick when I was young, and so she passed when I was young. So we were in that process before we really were ready. I feel like we didn't know what we were doing when my mom passed, and the funeral home was great, but I feel like I would love to have like a full setup, right? Where anything that you might need pertaining to it, we have a solution. Even down to like, oh, you don't have a plot, I can connect you with plots oh, you don't have money, we can help finance in-house, right? And then when you get like the life insurance check back, we can cover that. Like I have all of these feelings and thoughts about it, but I also want to make one where they are maybe a little more modern and a little more approachable, and like people won't feel funny about being in it. And they actually feel like maybe they belong there a little bit. Like this is comfortable. I can be here with my family. I'm also so pro celebrating life, not mourning loss.
Yeah.
Because I mean, any excuse to have a party.
Right.
But those people want you to be grateful for the life you're still living and grateful for the life that you had with them. They don't want you to be sad that they're not there with you at that moment.
I agree. I don't want people to just show up to my funeral all sad. Like I actually want my family. They haven't gone yet, but we plan to go to. In Mexico, we do Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, which is a celebration every year.
Yep.
You know, everybody's out there just partying it up.
I love that.
I mean,
it's a whole parade.
It's comparable to weddings, right? Like when the traditional weddings, right? You got to walk down the aisle. You have to do it at church, and then you have to have the reception here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's like to each their own. However, people are evolving to do whatever the heck they want to do. And to be fair, you're guaranteed to be born, you're guaranteed to live, and you're guaranteed to die. So why can't all of those be a celebration? Because when you're born, it's like, yes, you're having a baby shower. It's a party. There's no real traditional way to do that. Boom. You get married at some point. It should be a party. It can be traditional if you want, depending race, religion, etc. But the average person is just throwing a party. Do the same thing. Why can't you have a room that is the party room? Why can't you have something that is more, like you said, modern, more relatable, more millennial and Gen Z relatable as we're getting to that era? So when you're in your 60s, 70s running this for the past X amount of years, it's still extremely dope, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What is traditional? Right? Like I think Gen Z and beyond, even millennial, the idea of what's traditional has really changed. And I just got a brainstorm when you were talking about it. I'm like, well, why couldn't you have a funeral like at the beach? Like, why couldn't you have a funeral in these different, like, why does it have to be inside and stuffy? Or why does it have to only be at the grave site?
Yeah.
You know, cremation or not, obviously cremation, a lot of people do end up making it an experience, but that's not what it's all about. And like at least the funeral is not all about that, right? The end of life typically. It just depends. But
burn. Like,
Bloodhound Gang?
like that's why we're playing that cremation.
Usher?
No.
Let it burn?
No. It was Bloodhound Gang. It was a little, and there's a few other ones, but yes, close enough.
Oh, Bloodhound Gang.
Different kind of burning. But.
Yeah. No, because you said, why can't it be a celebration? Listen, my mind went a whole different way when you say, why can't it be a celebration at cremation? I was like, no, those songs just popped.
That's honestly, I didn't mean to quote it, but. Well, and so then the other thing is like a funeral is one of the only times sometimes in your life, depending on how your family is constructed, where everybody gets together.
That's the problem.
So it's like you don't get to have fun. You feel weird celebrating that families in town that you never see because you're there for a sad cause. But sometimes that's such a great part of it. It would be nice to not feel guilty about being excited to have everybody together.
And when that happens, you know, you get with the family and there's always that conversation. It's like, man, it's sad we don't get together. You know, sad that we have to get together for this moment. We should get together more often. And then families go away again, and they never see each other.
Weddings, funerals is when families usually get together. Not even birthdays.
Stops everything.
It just depends where you're at in the country, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But those are the two times.
And that's what I was getting at with like the whole Day of the Dead thing in Mexico. It's like, I'm going to see you every year.
Right.
And we're going to be partying down the street.
Yeah.
On the way.
I think that's great. I really feel like we've kind of gotten away with that. And I know everybody has their own stuff going on, but it is, especially if you don't have like some sort of religious obligation or structure, you don't always have that stop everything, work's closed, businesses are closed, we're all getting together, we're not going to, so I have some clients that are like Orthodox Jewish, right? And every week on their Sabbath, they can't use any technology, they can't use any power.
Oh, wow.
They like have to leave the lights on because once it's the Sabbath, you can't turn the switch, you can't do anything considered work.
It's from Friday afternoon
until sundown on Saturday. So it's like 24 hours, sundown to sundown. And I just think it's beautiful. And they purposely like they have to be able to walk to the church. That you get all the community or synagogue. You have to get all the community together. You spend the entire time praying with each other, discussing things. And I just love the obligatory shut off and reconnect. Because to be honest, if you never stop and self-reflect and am I dropping lines all day?
No, go ahead. Finish that. And I'm going to bring a point to that.
If you don't ever stop and reflect on your family, on your circumstances, on your achievements, how do you also have an option to celebrate and or plan for the future and grow? You know, you have to have that time to stop.
Create stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
and-
we should be forced to do that more, I feel like, because apparently we don't do anything unless we're forced.
No, well, that's and this is the point. Is I don't know who saw the post, but my kid got in trouble. He's 5 years old. He flipped off some school bus kid, right?
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got in trouble. So when I got home, I took his iPad away or whatever, and he was fucking devastated. But then we were playing chess. We went outside, you know, doing all the other stuff. And for 24 hours, you know, we were reading books, working on his reading, all that stuff. And then he's like, you know what? Not having it, my iPad's not that bad. It's actually fun.
Right.
I feel like COVID was a lot of that, where I realized how much I had or had not been present and like been doing, you know, things one-on-one with my son, because we had so much free time. I'm like, we can't just sit in front of a TV all day. Like, I'll go crazy. And he and I are both very active. So I was like, man, I haven't been playing baseball with you in a while. We haven't been reading together. He loves board games. He loves cards. Like, we did so much of that. And so it's funny when they joke about if you take away the kids' technology, it's more of a punishment for the parents.
Yeah.
But the sad truth is that we use that as a way to, like, pacify them, right? And then, but then you're not interacting with them. And then you have to have that self-reflection of, well, we're just passing time together, and that time's going to go away, and we could have really been having monumental, important experiences together. So,
well, I mean, even this past weekend, you know, I went to thank you for some. He let me go to a concert and hooked me up with some tickets, and I went to
my
see
bodyguard
JCJ.
this weekend. Yeah.
But I'm just there.
be my bodyguard.
I go there, and I'm just standing there off to the side. I just got there, got a drink, and he's playing. He's up on stage playing, and I see this.
So it was self-promotion.
What do you mean? Oh,
Yeah, and I see this
Free
guy.
tickets to come watch you.
Everything.
Yeah, and it's like,
Come
wow.
be my fan.
He's my bodyguard, right?
Yeah, and I was there with my pom-poms ready to go. And I see this guy, and he's wearing, you know, I see the DJ, Julian Rivera. I was like, oh, you know, Julian? And then it finally hit me. I was like, oh, wait. You're his kid. Right? So two of his boys.
They certainly don't look alike.
Yeah, two of his boys were there. And that's super dope to see that your children are like, they're coming out to see your dad, right? Coming to hanging out. And then at a certain point, he leaves the stage and, you know, comes out and he's like, says hi to me or whatever. But really, he's out there, go say hi to his kids. You know, he goes out there to a crowd. So, you know, you take note of that. And even though he's up there, like, I'm also kind of watching his kids now that I know they're there. That's just the fatherly part of me. And that, like, actually care for a child, right? It's like, I hope he's all right. You know, keeping an eye on the guy.
So he was bodyguarding your whole family. He really hired him for security.
I mean, technically, I have to. That's why I had to learn how to do everything. But no, my to your point and to your point too, time is passing, and like I have a 20-year-old and 19-year-old son that's able to come out, but now I have a 2-year-old at home too. But the difference is, and I made a post about this the other day. I went on a field trip with my 8-year-old daughter, and I was able to do that. But back in the day, back in my early fatherhood years.
What year would that be back in the day?
BC, before Christ.
Okay.
But no, in my 20s, when I had my kids, because I had Julie and Jadelle 20 and 21 back to back, and I was definitely present, and we were doing stuff, but not nearly as present as I can be now due to the flexibility
and mentally present
of the industry. Exactly.
Because you were still growing and figuring things out.
I was a kid raising a kid. That's what it is. I'm finally a grown-ass man, but I'm still a kid at heart, right? We all are. But seeing that is now how, in theory, we can kind of spend time together outside of stuff they want, because when they get older, they have their friends, they have their girlfriends, they have their likes, what they want to do. And then I still got the 2-year-old that he just wants me to hold him. I'm like, damn, those two boys were that size, and they used to do the same shit. How can I make the most of these memories that I'm creating now with my wife and I? And then doing that and being able to go on the field trips, which I wasn't able to do as often as I can now. I mean, I did maybe once every other year or something, maybe. But it just feels good to be able to do that. But to your point, we don't really appreciate that until we get older. We don't want the time to fly by. And the fact that you're in a position where you've had an older child and now you have a younger one all over again, it's just really dope to have the experience of being the young dad and now the old dad, the young mom and the older mom. It's just different because we're growing up.
Absolutely.
Well, so what you just said, I already mentioned kind of being like the single mom and stuff. And when when my son was younger, from a baby. I had to go back to work after 6 weeks. They would not let me take more time, even if I was unpaid. And I was so desperately trying to, spend more time with my baby. So I was in an office. So his dad actually got to do like all the sick days and the home days, and he would just keep him home randomly and play. And I hated how I missed out on like those toddler years, and I couldn't be the primary parent like I may have wanted to. So I remember that very vividly, which is also why I think I fight to protect the time I have right now with Rainer.
Right.
Because I know how fast it goes. And it still feels like it went by so fast. I'm like, I've been here, right? I've been paying attention.
No, it was. I met you, and
But
the kid couldn't even crawl. He was
it's
just
so
laying in the
crazy.
office.
It's so crazy. It's like in the blink of an eye. But I think that I'm grateful to have had the opportunity with my next child to be able to know what I want and how to prioritize it and have that flexibility and control.
Right.
Nobody's telling me, no, you got to leave your kid and go do this. And honestly, plug Iron Valley here. I have so many people that could help me. If I needed to be home and somebody needed to see a house, whether I have a team of agents or not, I have a brokerage that will pick up where I can't and help me out. So it's really nice to know that you're not stranded on your own in your business.
Yeah.
And that if you need to prioritize your kids, there are people there that support you and will help you do that.
Absolutely.
So I love that.
So
There's your clip
and I
right
got
there.
and I got to cut it off. So all right. So Caroline, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Please subscribe, all that stuff. And
YourPeakLife. I'm just kidding. I
Your
don't know
Peak
where that
Life,
came
YouTube,
from.
all the social media platforms.
Those 10 months
That's
in the hood.
Yeah, in the hood.
Thank you. Next time we see her, she'll be married and with kids.
Yes.
Again.
No.
Again.
Thank you.